What's going on, people? Welcome back to Premzy TV. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video, subscribe if you're new. But look, it looks like the Raya situation has all been cleared up. There was reports yesterday and over the last few days that it's a fee of £30 million that has been agreed with Brentford in order for Raya to move over to Arsenal, which was looking like a permanent switch. But now it's come out, it's a £3 million loan deal initially. And then after that, we have the option to buy him for 27 million, which in my opinion, I think is a good bit of business. At the moment, we've got to work a little bit more smartly because of financial fair play and stuff like that, which you got to give credit to the club, the way they're bringing these players in, because we all know we've spent a lot of money so far in the window. You get me? Some of it I'm happy with, some of it is still up in the air, and we've got to wait and see how it plans out. For example, the Havertz deal. You get me? I know I keep banging on about it sounding like a broke record, but it's a lot of money splashed out for a player that is hit and miss, and we don't know whether he's going to come good or not. But the Raya situation, I think it's a good bit of business for us because it just shows that we're starting to move intelligently in the market now as well. We're not trying to risk things too much because we don't know how it might happen. Raya might come in, it might unsettle Ramsdale. Raya might not be happy with the game time. There could be some problems. If that ends up being the case, then it looks like Raya will probably be going on his way back to Brentford, because Brentford are quite smart, to be fair, how they've done this deal as well, because they've actually extended his deal with the club for an extra year. So if the deal doesn't materialise with Arsenal, they're not in, well, they would have a year left on the contract in order for them to have to sell him up, but they'll still get value for the player. So it's smart how they've done it. But I'm under the impression Arsenal will go out there and will sign him at the end of the season. I think his stats speak for himself. When you watch Raya, unbelievable goalkeeper. And I think he will give us definitely some added squad depth and quality to this team. Because the one thing we want to see as Arsenal fans is we're bringing in quality that might be better than the quality that we've got already in the first 11. And Raya, you can safely say, in a lot of aspects, he's probably better than Ramsdale. Obviously, we've become fond of Ramsdale as fans, and we want him to stay as the number one. But Raya might just come in and just show him what time it is and say, look, bro, I'm here now. You get me? I've got the bit between my teeth, and I want to be that first team starter. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see. And with Brentford, they've already made a signing anyway earlier on in the window in June as well. They signed the Freiburg goalkeeper for £11 million. So I don't think they're going to want to bring Raya back into the club. Obviously, it could be a situation where this lad doesn't work out at Brentford and they might speak to him and say, look, come back in and so on. But Arsenal have the option there. You get me? It's not an obligation to buy. It is an option to buy. So if we do go in for him, happy days as well. Big up to everybody in the chat as well. Like I said, make sure you're smashing a like on this video, subscribing if you're new. Let's get some of the comments in. Nah, Brentford did us a solid. You know what, bro? I'm telling you now, they definitely did, because earlier on in the window, we seen they were branding prices of 40-45 million pound to Tottenham. I think Raya's probably sat down with them and said to him, look, I really want the Arsenal move. You've brought a goalkeeper in. Let this happen for me. He's been a good servant for the club. And you got to commend Brentford for the way that they've handled it. And they, like you said, they've done us a bit of a favour. Brentford are a good sport, saved us funds for the window. And you know what? We're going to be touching on Barella and a few other players as well shortly. But I just wanted to get this tied down, because also Ben Foster, I don't know if you have watched his podcast or if you go on YouTube and see what he says. But it has come out that Ben Foster thinks it's going to unsettle the squad. He thinks Arteta's made a mistake by bringing Raya in. He thinks Ramsdale is all that we need, and bringing Raya in could kind of ruffle the feathers a little bit. And to be fair, I don't agree with it. I really don't agree with it. We've seen at times with Ramsdale, especially towards the back end of the season, he had a few mistakes in him. Raya, he might not be that guy, you get me? He might just come in and show everybody, nah, this is what time it is, you get me? I want to be the Arsenal number one. He's 27, 28 years of age. Happy days. Also, what up, Premzy? What up, chat? Nah, big up yourself, bro. I see you tune in all the time as well, man. Respect. Like I said, I don't just want any Tom, Dick, and Harry in here. I want people that are loyal, people that want to grow this channel with, man. And also, I want it to be our channel rather than just my channel. You get me? Like I said, I'm going to start throwing links out. I want people to jump in and give their thoughts and opinions around the club and have a lot more interaction with the people that follow me and support the thing. You get me, fam? Because if we don't have yous to support us, we don't have no one to support, and it's only right to give yous man a voice. So soon you'll see a call-in show. I'm just in the process of getting that put up and figuring a time when it's best to do it, because the problem is now there's so many content creators out there. You try not to clash with everybody and so on, but it is what it is, I suppose. Big up yourself early in the cut. Big up Premsy, my fellow gooner. Respect, bro. Kevy, big up yourself. Great business on Raya. I think the census is pretty much the same around all Arsenal fans. They rate this Raya business. And like I just touched on a moment ago, bringing in quality that's not lower than the quality that you got in the first team, but can exceed them, is exactly what we need to be doing. For the first time in a long time, we have now got squad depth in this team. And this is the season. We have to win something. Pressure has to be put onto Arteta. Pressure has to be put onto the team, because we've already spent over 200 million. It's coming up to close to 700 million since Arteta's taken over. We need to see some reward for this. Look, it's not my money and I'm not asked. And I understand you have to spend in order to catch up with the rest of the teams. I get it. But they're all his players now. We've got squad depth. We've got maybe 1-2 players short, in my opinion. But the senses are there to now push on. We already shown last season what we can do and what we're capable of doing in the league. We did fall short. Some can say you bottled it, which I honestly think we did bottle it. I think the pressure got to us. This is why I'm predicting it to be much of a harder season for us this year than it was last. But prove all us doubters wrong. Prove all the fans out there that saying Arsenal are going to fall off. Prove everybody wrong. We're definitely getting Raya. It's a gentleman agreement. I think it's just pretty much plain and sailing, really, in it. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think he wants to join the club. Brentford have just kind of, like you said earlier, done us a little bit of a favour. So take him on loan, and then you've got an option to buy him for 27 million, which in my opinion is an absolute steal. That's just the God's honest truth. I think they're probably happy with the new keeper. I think it's Mark Flecken. I think they're probably happy with what they're seeing in training with him. So they've probably just thought, nah, there's no point hanging on to him. Get him out of the club. Casper's dad is hating. Competition for Rambo is good. Turner was not the guy, with respect. You know what? I do get that. I don't think Turner was the guy that was going to challenge Ramsdale or push him to any heights beyond where he is now. But I got to give Turner some credit. You know, since he's come into the team, he has kept a few clean sheets. When he's been called upon, he's been pretty decent for us. And I think it's probably right now for him to move on. If quality is there, go out there, get the quality, strengthen in depth. But let's have a look at some of Raya's stats, because they are quite impressive, to be honest with you. I didn't really look into him before, but as I was looking around and doing a bit of research, I seen Raya's stats are pretty impressive. And to be fair, he beats Ramsdale in a lot of things. So we compare their stats, both of them, from last season. It says here goals conceded, 46 for Raya, 43 for Ramsdale. I don't understand what this 66 place is and 69th place, because there's only 20 teams in the Premier League. So I don't really understand that. If any of you do know, let me know in the comments. But saves, Raya first in the league with 154 saves. Aaron Ramsdale 10th with 95. Clean sheets, Raya 5th with 12 and Ramsdale 2nd with 14. Goals prevented, XG, Ramsdale's -1 comes in 20th, Raya 5.9 in 4th. Passes completed, as you can see, there's a big difference there. Raya in 4th with 896 and Ramsdale in 10th with 592, which is, it just shows there's definitely going to be competition there. And if we look at where Raya is first and second from last season, saves, he's first. Saves from shots outside the box, he's first. Crosses caught, he's second. He's caught 50 crosses. That is a lot. You get me? I don't know if he's got super glue on his gloves or whatnot, but they're good numbers. Them touches, first out of any goalkeeper, 1,882 touches. Brilliant. Also first with long passes completed with 410. So it just shows that Raya, he isn't just good with his feet in the sense of keeping close control and playing out from the back. If he needs to hit it long, he's hitting it long and he's hitting his target, which we see with Ramsdale sometimes. my man's kicking the ball out of play. So it is a bit of a mad thing. If Arsenal are looking for another midfielder such as Barella, does this mean Kai will be our new centre forward? It's a bit sticky there. I'm telling you, I don't do apologise if you hear the ringing in the back. That is just Amazon dropping off some parcels to the gaff. You get me? I can't control it, so I do apologise if you are hearing that. But yeah, I think we need a new striker. I've been banging on about it since the season started. I was banging on about it last season. A striker is a must for me. You get me? We've got room for 3 strikers in our team. We've seen it in the past before. 3 strikers. That's what we need. That is what we need. And Havertz up front is not cutting it for me. He is not cutting it. You get me? We've seen against City. Yeah, he might have held the ball up decent, but he can't hit the barn door, in my opinion. He can't hit the barn door. Why can't people see the possibility that you have 2 good keepers and split the game time? It's done everywhere else on the pitch. You know what, Social? This is what I've been saying, yeah. And I've been on loads of podcasts. Even the other day, I was on Best of the Rest with Saeed, and I was saying the same thing, and he kind of laughed it off and said, that doesn't normally happen. You can't see that really happening. I think it's a good possibility something like this happens. We see Arteta, he likes to approach things a lot different to how other managers approach situations. And my point was, if we're playing against a low block team, Raya might be able to come in, help us build out from the back and break teams down that way. If we're playing against a team, for example, like a United or a City or somebody of that stature that's going to be in our faces end to end or whatnot, maybe Ramsdale might be the man for you on that senses. It could just be Ramsdale could be doing Premier League, he could be doing FA Cup, and Raya could be doing Champions League and could be doing Carabao Cup. They might split it that way. It is going to be interesting to see. Or it could just be simply, you're in training, whoever the best guy is, we're just going to pick yous. MA says, big up, bro. Love your vids. Major love, respect, peace and love. Like I said, I try to get everyone's comment up in here. You don't have to send super chats in order for me to read your comments. Mum will read your comments, you get me? I just appreciate the time that you're taking out anyway in order to tune in and be a part of the channel. So big up yourself. Might be Europe's top leagues ranking. I don't know. It's a mad thing. James, big up yourself, bro. See you in the cut all the time. Big up Premsy. Big up yourself. Let's get what you comment in here, bro. Arsenal really need another striker. Eddie is not it for the football club. We keep Balogun, Jesus, and bring in a striker and sell Eddie. You know what, bro? I think a lot of Arsenal fans are on that page. Get me? A lot of Arsenal fans probably want that to happen. Whether it will happen is another question. We know Arteta give Eddie 100 grand a week. You get me? Give him a new contract. Give him the 14 shirt. He seems to really like Eddie Nketiah. It might just be down to Eddie's attitude as well, which that is something you got to give a lot of praise to Eddie for. His attitude is top notch. He backs himself. Also, we seen in the All or Nothing documentary with Sambi Lakonga, he kind of shut him down when he was huffing and puffing and having a little bit of a hissy fit. You get me? He said to him, look, when you get your opportunity, take it with both hands, and it's all down to yourself. Maybe that's the attitude that Arteta sees in Eddie Nketiah over a Balogun who's been pretty vocal that he wants to leave the club on a number of occasions if he isn't getting first team game time, which you also got to commend to an extent as well, because a player that backs himself that much and thinks he should be getting first team football, normally they do tend to go on there and do well. We've seen it with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He come in, Arsene Wenger wanted to give him a trial. He's looked at Wenger and said, nah, you're taking the piss here. I'm not a trial kind of guy. Either you want me or you don't want me. So certain players, it can work out well for them. Before we move on to Barella, I'll get a few more of the comments in, and I want to touch on the potential swap deal with Barella. I'm with you, Premsy. I want a striker this window. We have to sell Ballo, though. These strikers cost a grip. Do hear you. Do you expect Kudos to join us, and do you rate him? I'll be honest with you, I've only watched glimpses of Kudos. I can't say that I watch him week in, week out. What I have seen from him, he looks a good player. He could play all across the front. He could play as a number 10. There's a lot of versatility to him, and we know Arteta likes that versatility. Whether he will come or not, that's another question, because there is other clubs interested in him as well, which will obviously bump the price up and the amount of money that we're spending already. I don't know whether Arteta and Arsenal are going to be going out there trying to really compete and just keep paying over the odds for certain players. So that one, we're going to have to wait and see. Do you think Fabio and ESR will turn up this season? Oh, you know what? Fabio Vieira, for me, I think he needs a loan. That is my honest opinion. I think Fabio Vieira, he needs to get some loan time, maybe somewhere in the Premier League, a lower division, somewhere like Wolves that has normally treated Portuguese players well. Get him in there, get him some regular Premier League game time, playing week in, week out, physically bulk up, and then he could potentially come to Arsenal to see where he is in pre-season. Because I have seen glimpses of brilliance in Fabio Vieira, but his overall game, he's just not at the races for me. I think we brought him potentially with potential to grow into the team and maybe be that Bernardo Silva kind player, but he is miles off from a player like Bernardo Silva. Yeah, Arteta's tried to play him out on the right. For me, not good enough at the moment. Not good enough. ESR, I want to see ESR get some game time. And we'll touch on it in just a moment because it'll tie down into the Barella situation. But you know what? Fuck it. We'll touch on it now. ESR, I think there's a possibility if we don't sign a winger, ESR is going to be getting deployed and getting more game time, either for cover for Saka or out on the left-hand side and Trossard cover for Saka, because we know Trossard can play right and left. So I think that's the way forward Arteta and Arsenal want to move. I think by us going in for a player like Barella, which I honestly believe we need, I think we need another body in midfield. That's my honest opinion. Yeah, we brought in Declan Rice, can give us a bit more defensive cover. But sometimes instead of having a double pivot, we could just go with one guy, for example, Rice or Partey, and play Odegaard and Barella off him. I don't want to see Havertz in that midfield. Havertz for me is not a midfielder. I think Havertz needs to sit on the bench and come on every now and again, play FA Cup games, Carabao Cup games, to come on the odd time in the Premier League if we need an extra body. I think that's how I want to see Havertz getting played. But with Barella, it looks like Arsenal are potentially willing to do a swap deal. Now, I don't know whether that's a swap deal and money, because if we're looking to potentially give them Tomiyasu and Balogun, I can't see us putting any money on top of that. I think that would be absolutely ridiculous if we do that. You get me? Then we're just paying over the odds for the guy. But he's under contract for 2026 with Inter, and Inter don't want to sell the guy, but they're financially not in a very great place. So it could be one of them deals where, say, we give him a Balogun. I don't think Tomiyasu will go. That's how I see it. I think Tomiyasu is very versatile. Arteta likes the tall physical stature of him. I think Tomiyasu will stay 110%. But I think Balogun, on the other hand, they might give Balogun, and might give a little 30 million. You get me on top, or might give a little 20 million on top, because we've seen in the past Liverpool got quoted 80 million euros, which works out to be like 64 million pounds, something like that for Barella. That didn't quite materialize. Inter had a bit of a change of heart on that, and I don't know whether Liverpool wanted to make them payments, because we know what Liverpool are like. You get me? They're being a bit stingy at the moment. But we do need somebody, because if Odegaard gets injured, we've got a bit of a problem. Not a bit of a problem. We've got a massive fucking problem, because Odegaard is a very key component to this Arsenal team. He makes us tick. His interchanging with the defense, the midfield, up front, unbelievable. He's also got a lot of goals in him. He's got assists in him. With Barella, if he comes into the team, he would also give that. Last season, he had 19 goal contributions. I think he had like 10 assists and 9 goals, or the other way around, something like that. And he would give us that kind of little bit of flair in the middle. He's strong as well. You get me? He doesn't get bullied and pushed around. He's now got Champions League experience, being in the final and knowing what it takes to get there. I honestly think if that's somebody that we can get, I'd be happy with that, to be honest. I did want James Maddison. I know people don't agree with it. A lot of people don't agree with it. I think James Maddison's a top quality player. But if we could go in there and get a Barella, maybe Jorginho, Italy international, can maybe have a chat with him and say, look, Arsenal's the place for you. Come and let's see how it goes on. But I can't see us giving 2 players for him. That's just my honest opinion. There's a lot of paper talk going around, especially when the window's about to close. We haven't got too long left now, but we've been linked to Diaz again as well from Aston Villa. I don't know how true that is, but not Diaz, sorry. Look, what's his name? Douglas Luiz. That's his name. Douglas Luiz. We've been linked to him as well. We know we was linked to him in January. That didn't quite pan out. It looks like we're linked to him again. Eddie is my guy, but Arsenal need better. Brentford are interested in Eddie. Hopefully he goes there. You don't know. Just imagine that was some sort of deal that they cut in order to get Raya over and said, look, you help us out, we'll help you out. But I can't see Eddie Nketiah going anywhere. That's my honest opinion. I think the striker market is a little bit limited at the moment, and I think we rather keep the striker than sell him before we bring somebody else in. And at the moment, we're not really being linked to strikers. And I hope fucking Havertz ain't going to be that option to be a striker. I've always said Martinelli could potentially move into that position and make it his own, but Arteta just likes him to deploy him out on the left wing. I think his pace, the way he comes back and helps the defence, I think that's what Arteta wants from Martinelli. MA says, I myself think that with this selection, we are not strong enough to fight for the title. We need a proper striker, right wing, midfielder, and a defender. Otherwise, I see City walking the league. Well, you got to say City are definitely favourites for the league. You can't really deny that one bit. But we do have a good chance. I just need to wait and see how the season develops a little bit, because at the moment, I haven't got Arsenal winning the league. I've got Arsenal potentially second or third. I think Liverpool will come back into it strong. And that's just purely down to the expectation that's on us now. Last season, no expectation. You get me? You can go into games with no pressure. We only started to really get expectations towards the back end of the season when it was the final hurdle. And we seen what happened there. We kind of capitulated and just start giving away points. And we just wasn't looking ourselves. People might say it was down to Saliba's injury, potentially had an impact. However, sometimes you got to be able to deal with it within the squad. Maybe the squad wasn't suited to deal with it then, and we are better suited now. We're bringing in the likes of Timber, who I think is an absolute fantastic player, and I think he's going to strengthen that back line immensely. But yeah, I do hear that. For me, a midfielder, a striker, I think we've done good with bringing in Declan Rice and Timber, and also bringing in Raya as well. I think we have done a bit of good business, but I still want to see a Giroud type player. You get me? I know it's a bit mad saying that now, considering we let him go, but I want to see somebody big. I want to see somebody of that stature coming in. Arsenal comeback says, I know we need a striker, but we need to get rid of a lot of players. Cedric, Nuno, Runnison, Holding, and Sambi. Well, potentially Sambi Lokonga might be on his way to Burnley. That seems like that's hotting up a little bit. Obviously, the market's a bit mad for centre defensive midfielders or players that can play as a number 6, and Sambi's there. We know companies worked with him in the past, and he actually referred him to Arsenal and Arteta. So I can see him going there. Cedric, if we can't get rid of him, just pay him off and say to him, see you later. Nuno Tavares, I'm guessing that is who you're speaking about there. I think he will definitely probably get another loan deal. If not, we'll get sold. Runnison, he's a pile of shit for me. That's my honest opinion. The short time that I've seen him at Arsenal, get me, the few games that he's played, he doesn't look no good. Does not look no good. Holding, yeah, he does need to move on now. He's been at Arsenal for very long, and I can see his game time being very limited at the Arsenal. Now, Kiviar's in contention. You know, Ben White could play that position. Tomiyasu could play that position. Timber can play that position. We know Gabriel and Saliba are the mainstays there. So I would like to see Holding move on. And to be fair, we can get £10 million for him, something like that. I'm happy to let him go. I think there's room for him to play for a team like West Ham or somebody. Everton, somebody like that could come in for Holding, and I think he'll suit them. But two players that are going to be going, Charlie Patino looks like he's going to be on his way to Swansea, and good. I'm happy that he keeps getting loan moves because he's still very young. We know that there's potential in him. He had a very good loan spell at Blackpool last season as well. He needs to keep going on loan and develop his physique, develop his game, get an understanding of the football in England a lot better as well when it comes to Championship, because we know what Championship's like. It's rough, it's rugged. You get me? It's not as silky as the Premier League. You really got to get your foot in properly and think fast as well. So I think Patino going to Swansea, good move. Swansea probably one of the better teams in the division as well, so he'll be around a bit better players in the division, and he'll be able to flourish there. And years to come, like I said, Partey's cracking on a little bit. El Nene, he looks like he's going to probably leave next season. Jorginho's cracking on as well. There's an opportunity there for him to come in. If he has a good loan spell, has a good preseason, show the manager, look, I'm ready now to step in and be a bit part player in the squad. So he's got opportunity. You got to take him with both hands. Also, Marquinhos, it looks like he's on his way to France, to Nantes. And that's a good move. I think physically, he's very strong. He's quick. He's got a decent shot on him. I just think it's about him developing his game now a little bit more. And another loan move is perfect for him. You get me? We've seen him at Norwich. Unfortunately for him, he had a few injuries over there and his game time was limited. This time, maybe going to France is not as competitive and it's not so rough. compared to the Championship. He might be able to not get injured and have a bit more game time over there, which I would like to see. Kev says Tommy is rumoured to be involved in a swap deal for Barella. Yeah, I was just touching on that. I can't really see us giving them two players and money. It might be a potential where they give them Tommy and they give them Balogun. I just can't see that happening. I can't see Tomiyasu leaving the club. I think Tomiyasu will stay at Arsenal maybe for a season or another season or two, just depending on how hungry he is for first team football. So we have to wait and see how that pans out. But I can't see Tommy leaving this season. You know, he's been hampered with injuries since his time at Arsenal as well. And I think he probably wants to try to get himself back into the team, because we've seen last season against Liverpool at the Emirates, he shut off Mo Salah. He can play that position at left back. He can play right back. He can play centre back. He's very versatile, and we know Arteta likes them kind of players. So I don't know. I see more of a Balogun and a bit of cash on top, because we want 50 mil for Balogun, and I don't think we're going to be budging off that price. So we're going to have to wait and see. Barella coming in takes El Nene Jorginho's place. Good future proofing. 110. Get me. 26 years old. He's not old. He's in the peak of his career, and he's hungry as well. He's a player with a lot of hunger and passion. You can see it in him. And that's what we need to add to this team. Kev says Havertz will cook. You know what, bro? I pray and hope to God that you're right. I just can't see it. I just really can't see it for some reason. You get me? Obviously, hopefully he sells me and he can just hit some different heights that he did at Chelsea. But what I've seen over 3 years at him at Chelsea, I'm just not with it at the moment. When Sambi and Nuno joined us in that 21 season, I thought they were decent and done a job, but they only perform on moments. Yeah, I suppose so. With Sambi Lokonga, you can see that he was still very fresh and raw. I pretty much knew straight away he needed a loan. Nuno Tavares come in, especially in the pre-season. You're seeing that he had a lot of flair, very quick. He loved to get forward, put the crosses in, and then it kind of dipped off. So it's one of them situations. I think it's probably best he moves on now. We've got Zinchenko there. Obviously, we'll touch on Kieran Tierney in a minute. But we've got Tierney there. Timber can play there. Tomiyasu can play there. Even Kivior, we've seen at times playing in the left back position. I think we're stack loaded there. And if we can recoup some money for him, we need to recoup some money. At the end of the day, this is a business. We can't be spending 700 million and not bringing no players in. I mean, not selling no players, because we need to balance the books. Kev's asking regarding Kieran Tierney. You know what? I'd be so sad to see him go. I'd be so sad to see him go. But unfortunately, the gut feeling that I've got is that he knows the Arsenal fans love him, but he wants to be playing regular football. You get me? And I think if the right offer comes in for him, I think the club will really listen and potentially move him on. As we've seen, they've been favouring Timber in the left back position over Kieran Tierney when he's been fully fit. Match fitness is on point. It's a sad one for me. Maybe Newcastle might be interested in coming in for KT. We're going to have to wait and see. We also know that West Ham are interested in him. But I'll be devastated. I'm not going to lie. I'll be devastated if Kieran Tierney goes. I think he's one of the best defenders that we got in the team, you get me? And we've seen, like I said, last season, when shit hits the fan and we need to see out a lead, who does Arteta bring on? He brings on Kieran Tierney, you get me? And if we lose that now coming off the bench, it's going to be sad, especially being in the Champions League and also all the other competitions, because we need to fucking win something now. You get me? We need to win something. And I don't mean just win the Carabao Cup or this Community Shield that doesn't really mean anything. We need to be winning one of the big trophies. You get me? I want us to win the Premier League. Whether we'll do it or not, I'm not 100% sure. I've got to see how the season pans out and see if we can carry the form from last season into this season. But the evidence from last season states that we should be challenging and we can challenge. So really, we should be going for that Premier League title and winning it. Champions League, yeah, it is going to be a little bit different and it is going to be a bit difficult because we've not been in it for 6 years, but we could also use that as an advantage for us. You get me? We can surprise a few teams. They haven't played against us. They don't know how we play. And not being in it for so long, some players, it's going to be their first ever time in it, like Bukayo Saka and so on. Maybe they will thrive in that competition. We seen last season, Inter Milan and AC Milan both got to the semi-final. And in my opinion, they're not great teams. They're not great teams at all. Boy saying he loves Kieran Tierney. I think a lot of Arsenal fans do. I think most fans favour Kieran Tierney. You'd have the odd few saying, now we've got Timber in, we've got players like Zinchenko in that position, move him on, recoup some money. I do understand that, to be fair, but for me, there's too many games to play in. Kieran Tierney, even if we wanted to drop as a back three, he could play as a left-sided centre-back as well in the three. We have no pit bulls in this team. We must keep Katie. He's got a dog in him. We can't keep being soft 110%. Jake says, I think Kieran Tierney is staying. Bro, I hope to God you're right. Get me? I hope to God you're right. But people, thank you very much for tuning in. Like I said, please make sure you smash a like on this video. It's very important so the algorithms could get pushed out and we could get a wider audience and the channel can grow. So please, it's free. It's a click of a button. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we'll be back soon as well. So peace and love, and we'll see you on the next one.